I am back at it, talking about Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. Yet again, in one of my more recent videos, I spoke about the first short story in this book of 3 short stories. And today I am going to be talking about the remaining 2. Hello, welcome. My name is Leah. This is my channel, Dirty Little Literate, where I like to talk about books that are weird, disturbing, disgusting, etc., what have you. These are some weird, disturbing short stories. They're pretty fun, and I'm excited to talk to you about the remaining 2. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is called Enchantment. And this story is about our 3 main characters, Olive, James, and their son, Milo. So there's clearly some tension going on with this family. It appears that there have been marital troubles between the husband and wife. We're not quite sure what's been going on with them, but clearly they're separated. They have come together and they're trying to get along for the sake of their son Milo, and it is his birthday, so they are all celebrating. And Milo seems to be surprised to even see them in the same room with each other. And Milo seems like there's maybe something a little bit off going on with him. Something's not quite right. The way his parents are treating him, they seem to be concerned about him, like overly concerned. Anyway, the gift that his father gives him for his birthday is a hammer, which is kind of a lackluster gift. But I guess he gives him this hammer for a specific purpose. There's an alleged school project that Milo has been working on. He is creating a giant wooden cross, and I'm not sure exactly what assignment this would be for, but his father is saying, oh yeah, this can help you with that project. His father also notices Milo praying, and Milo's like, well, yeah, I pray 5 times a day, don't you? And James, his dad, is like, well, no, not since ... So throughout the story, it has been alluded to that there has been a recent discovery that's all over the news. Apparently, there is something that has come out that has essentially disproven religion and God, and we never find out specifically what it is, but it's enough to where a lot of people who were religious are now realizing, I guess there's no purpose to any of this stuff anymore. And so when James is asking his son, oh, you're still praying? Thinking that, haven't you kind of figured it out, that that's not a real thing? He's like, oh yeah, I don't listen to the news. Mom says it's better not to. So we realize that Milo and his mom both really latched onto their religion that much harder after this development came out. They're definitely in denial, whereas James, it seems, does not believe at this point. And so it seems like that is perhaps the reason why there's this tension among James and his wife, Olive. So Milo asks his dad if he would stay the night as like a gift for his birthday, because I guess the hammer is just not cutting it, and James declines, which is a bummer, and Olive tries to convince him to stay as well, and he does not want to. Now, the next morning, when Olive is making breakfast for her and Milo, she hears a loud thud coming from his room. She goes up and she knocks on the door, and Milo doesn't answer. She hears another noise. She's getting concerned. She goes into his room, and this is super disturbing, but Milo has basically crucified himself on the cross. He has somehow managed to nail his own hands to the cross, and he's slit his belly open. And yeah, I don't know how he managed all of this, but he's crucified himself, and so he is deceased. And the cops come, the ambulance comes, James comes, and it's too late. He's already gone. Oh. So that was all the very first chapter of this story. And then we are going to jump to 6 months later after Milo has died. And we are back with James. And James has a new job, and it is on a very remote, isolated island where nobody's really staying on it. And James has been hired in order to be like the groundskeeper for this hotel called the Enchantment on this island during the winter months when there aren't guests staying there. So interestingly enough, it is not just going to be James who is staying on this island for this job. Olive, his wife, is going to be coming with him as well, which is interesting because it seemed like they were pretty much a done deal, and their separation seemed like it was probably heading in the direction of a divorce. We find out that Milo had left a note that he had written right before he took his own life, saying to his parents that if you love me, the one thing I want is for you guys to stay together, which honestly is horrible. What an immense amount of pressure, and then the guilt you would feel if you don't do that, but then staying in this marriage that you don't want to be in. It's a very unfortunate, weird situation. And so I guess they are committed to honoring his wish, though. So she is coming to stay with him on the island, and the accommodations are pretty gnarly. The little, I don't know if you'd call it a cabin, it's very tiny, it's very just kind of gross and dusty, and there's really not much to it, and it seems like, oh, the power's out, oh, you know, are we gonna have any heat? Like, it just seems like it's not a super reliable, stable living situation. And I guess, you know, it's not like they can go to a grocery store on this island. There's really nothing there. They're going to be relying on someone coming over in a boat every week or two to provide some supplies for them during these months. And so I don't really know what Olive is going to be doing during this time. It's not like she got a job, so she's just going to be kind of dicking around in this little tiny cabin. And even the gentleman who is introducing James to the island and kind of telling him all about it and what the job is going to entail, he's even kind of like, oh, you know, by the way, the gas stove, like a lot of time it will look like it's off, but it's actually not off. So just really be careful of that. So like, it just seems janky. And one thing that this man mentions as well, apparently a lot of people regard it as very haunted. I guess there was a couple that, you know, had also been in the same position that James and Olive are about to be in, and they'd come to the island and then they just disappeared and nobody knows what happens to them, and so people think that they're haunting the island. So cool, good, promising. It's clear that there's still definitely a strain in Olive and James's relationship. She is clearly still very religious even after everything that happened with Milo, and she tells James that she wants another baby, and he looks at her like she's kind of crazy and says, you know, we talked about this, and she's like, I know, but can't things change? And he alludes to the fact that I guess he really can't even physically have children anymore, which I guess she knows, but she's like, but miracles can happen, you know? And, you know, they're having this conversation, and then all of a sudden they hear a knock at the door, which is extremely surprising because there's really not supposed to even be anyone on this island. So very strange. They go and open the door, and there is a young man at the door that they do not recognize. And this man says that he came by boat. He saw that their light was on, and he was hoping that they could help him. He was thinking that the hotel would possibly be open, but of course it's not. The weather is really bad. The fact that he boated over here in this weather is kind of crazy. And so Olive's like, oh, of course, no, come in, we can help you. And she's asking him how he's doing, and I guess he's not doing so great, and he informs them that his mother actually died yesterday. Very recent. Why is he here? What's going on? Olive and James are both like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry to hear that. And this young man says, yeah, you know, I figured you would be, and he's saying this directly to James. He's like, especially considering that you knew her. And then he pulls out a picture, and in this picture is James and another woman and a little baby. And this young man is saying that James is his father, and the woman who died, his mom, James had gotten pregnant all those many moons ago. So at first, Olive doesn't see the photo, and James is trying to be like, okay, young man, I think it's about time for you to go. She's like, what? No, what is it? And the young man says, oh, it's a photo of my mom and your husband. And when she sees it, she's like, shit, okay then. And James wants him to leave, obviously, but she's like, no, you should at least stay here for the night until the weather is better in the morning. And so there's definitely a lot of tension. It's a weird situation to be in, but Olive is kind of guilt-tripping James, like, why are you being a dick to your son? And in the morning when the sun is, I guess, packing up, acting like he's getting ready to go. Apparently, the boat is no longer docked and is nowhere to be seen. Given that this man's boat is gone, it looks like he's gonna be here for a while. So Olive is saying that he's gonna be their guest and they're gonna help him out until, you know, the next boat comes with supplies and then he can go back to the mainland. And at one point, while he's staying with them, Olive actually overhears him praying in Latin, which she is kind of surprised by. And she asks him about it a little bit. She's asking also what he wants. Is he trying to get money out of James? Like, what is his reason for coming here? And he is not interested in money, allegedly. And apparently they don't really have much, obviously, if this is the job he's taken and it's not the best situation for them. So he's saying he doesn't want money, but he says he's come because he has brought a message for them, but it is not yet time to give them the message. So very mysterious of him. And Olive, you know, she seems like she's not in a good state, which is certainly understandable. Obviously, losing her son has wrecked her, but beyond that, I think that paired with the whole thing of finding out that religion, I guess, is not a thing, like right before that, and then, you know, the stress with her husband, like there's just a lot going on, so she's not doing so hot, and it seems like she's definitely susceptible to kind of delusional thinking. And so she tells James, I don't think he's your son. And he's like, what? I mean, you saw the picture though, even though he was kind of trying to deny it as well. And she's like, okay, don't laugh at me, but I think he's an angel. I think he's an angel and he has a message for us from Milo. And James is just not on board. He doesn't believe any of this stuff that she's saying. He thinks she's not doing well. He's like, are you kidding me? And so because she thinks that he is an angel with a message for them from Milo, she believes that they need to treat him like a god, basically. She tells him that they can like swap rooms, he can get the better room, and they will, you know, be extremely uncomfortable for the foreseeable future so that this man is comfortable. She's also cooking him a ton and using all their food within like a couple days that's supposed to last them weeks in order to cater to him. At one point, Olive and the young man are eating together, and James and Olive actually brought their cat with them, and the cat knocks over this bowl of soup onto the young man, and he's like sneezing, and apparently he's allergic, and so Olive takes the cat, and when he's not paying attention, she throws the cat outside, but it's snowing out, which is a horrible, poor kitty. And she's like, oh, I'll make sure the cat won't bother you, but here, let me help you clean up. So they go to the bedroom so she can get his clothes and like wash them, but basically he starts taking off his clothes and then they fuck. She's gonna fuck the angel, I guess. And so in her mind, she's thinking that maybe this angel has come here to get her pregnant because she wants a baby and James can't give her a baby. And not that long after, she starts getting sick, throwing up, and it does appear that she is pregnant. And she's telling James, because I guess there was like one time recently that they'd had sex after she slept with the angel so that he would believe, you know, that it's his. They hadn't been having sex for a long time, but she's duping him. And so she tells him she thinks she's pregnant. Must be a miracle. Isn't that just dandy? How exciting. And on top of that, guess what? James finds the dead cat because the cat froze to death because Olive's a fucking bitch. Once she's pregnant, all of a sudden, Olive does not really seem to care about this young man anymore. She kind of got what she wanted. So all of a sudden, she's trying to switch the sleeping accommodations again so that he kind of gets the shit end of the stick. She's not really worried about feeding him anymore. The one point at which her and James are banging, like he's outside knocking on the door and they just ignore him. They're just kind of not treating him super well anymore. And so Olive, because of her kind of delusional brain, she starts putting some pieces together that I'm not sure are really meant to be put together, but she actually does lose the baby. And so this happens after they had stopped treating him well. So all of a sudden she's like, you know what? No, I don't think he's an angel. I think he's a demon and he was sent here to destroy us. And it seems that somebody is not coming to give them supplies on a boat. Like, it's been a week or two and like nothing's happened, and so they're like, shit, I guess it's just us and we're on this island with this demon, which James doesn't believe that, but Olive does. James, you know, thinks she's crazy, and it's kind of to be expected at this point, I guess. I don't like Olive, okay? And anyways, she tells James, you know what? He cannot live with us anymore. He needs to go stay at the hotel, which the hotel is really not set up for anyone to be staying there right now. In these cold winter months, there's nothing there. There's no supplies there. And so it seems that, especially because nobody's coming in the boat, apparently, since it's been a couple weeks, it seems like James, you know, he's warmed up to his son and he doesn't want him to just be in the hotel indefinitely without supplies. And so he's like, you know what, Olive, if you're sending him there, then I'm going with him. If you send him, I'm out. And she's like, what? You would leave me? And he's like, well, you could come too. If you want to come, you could come too. And she's pissed. And as she's walking, she sprains her ankle. And then for her, this is just done deal. It is obviously this man's doing that she sprained her ankle, this little fucking demon. After the sprained ankle, Olive is like, James, he's gonna kill us. You gotta do something. And he's like, what are you suggesting? And she's like, you know what you gotta do. You gotta kill him. You just gotta kill him. And he is so sick of her shit. Of course he's not gonna kill him. That is his son, and he knows it's his son. And even if it wasn't, he's not gonna kill him. So Olive decides to take matters into her own hands. There is rat poison in the cabin because rat infestations do be happening there. And so one night she decides that she is going to pour rat poison in this young man's wine. And of course, situations like this, and it's never gonna go well. And of course, James goes to drink some of the wine as well. I think she was thinking that maybe only the young man was going to drink it, and he goes to drink it as well, and she tries to get it from him, but she can't. So James drinks the wine. Olive is trying to stop him, and she's like, you weren't supposed to do that. And he's like, I wasn't supposed to, what? And then all of a sudden he starts feeling the effects of the rat poison, and he's like, Olive, what have you done? And she looks back, and then the young man is gone. He's completely disappeared, and James is dying, and James dies. And then, this is weird. Okay, so these creepy, crawly, black tendrils start coming out from the ground and, like, encasing James's body. So we've gotten into, like, a magical realism kind of vibe here. Things are no longer adhering to the rules of reality. So the tendrils, after encasing James's body, he disappears as well. So it's just her. And then this man, Mr. Patel, he's the one who originally showed James everything he was going to be needing to do for the job. He's there, but he looks kind of like a beetle. Like, there's a weird black beetle-ish aesthetic that he has going on, and Olive is so confused, but he's like, here, come with me. And he takes her to a different room, and she can see all of these, like, human bodies that all look fucked up, and they're all kind of, it's like mushed together, almost like a puzzle of anatomy. And amongst the bodies, she sees James as well. And then she sees the young man, and he is crouched on top of a pile of human skulls. So everything, it just sort of seems like what would be happening in a nightmare, but I don't think that that's what's happening here. She then sees a cross, and she sees Milo, her deceased son, on the cross, and he tells her that he has been waiting for her. This is getting a little out of control at this point. Suddenly, it is a different day. It's nice and sunny outside, and Olive is looking around, and everything appears to be as it was. You know, the cabin, the hotel, there's no sign of anything that happened, like, you know, the wine glasses and the dinner they'd been having. It just, everything looks like it's been cleared away. And suddenly she sees that two men have arrived on a boat, and this is the boat that is supposed to be bringing them supplies. So the men on the boat are talking to one another, saying they need to go check on the couple who's staying in the cabin, and she's like, I'm right here, hello, can you help me find my husband? And they are ignoring her, and they're going to look at the cabin. They're like, they're not here, but there's no sign of forced entry. I wonder what's going on. And she keeps trying to talk to them, and they keep ignoring her. And then, lo and behold, she encounters the young man again. And she's like, oh my God, are you here to hurt me? And he's like, you can't hurt what's already dead. So it's one of those fun situations of like, oh, she didn't know she's dead, but she's dead, and now we know she's dead. She is asking the young man what his intentions are. Where's her son? Like, because if she's dead, shouldn't her son be here too? And he's like, oh no, he's already crossed over. And she's like, crossed over? So that kind of implies that I guess maybe she's not crossed over. And he's like, yeah, the whole reason I was here is I was supposed to help you and your husband cross over so that you could go be with your son. But then you took matters into your own hands, and then she ended up killing James and trying to kill this young man. And so that's a big no-no. Very naughty, very naughty. So she's kind of just like in purgatory on this island. And this whole story is so weird. So like, she even tries to, use some glass and like slit her throat, and nothing happens because she's already dead. So the story ends like she's praying and just trying to, hope that God has pity on her. And I don't know. This story was bizarre. I feel like there are just pieces that are like missing to it. I think the idea of us finding out that there's something that has disproven religion and God, I think that's certainly an interesting premise. And the way her son went about taking his own life, that's definitely like a shocking thing that pulled me in right from the start. But not understanding like, okay, why do they need to die? And then also we disproved religion, but then we have this guy here who's helping people cross over. I just feel like it's just a confused story. I'm a confused person reading the story. It's not that it was bad, but I'm just like, Like, I don't know. I just have questions. And then, okay, if you were there to help them cross over, why are you fucking her? Are you fucking her to heaven? I don't understand. So no big thumbs up for that story. So I'm going to get into our next story. This is the shortest one, and this one is called You'll Find It's Like That All Over. So the main characters in this story are Mr. Fowler and Mr. Pearlzig. So Mr. Fowler one day is in his backyard and it's been snowing, and in the snow he finds a bone. And it looks alarmingly like a human bone, and what's extra interesting about it is the fact that it has the initials RP engraved on it. And so he's trying to think of like a scenario where that makes sense. Like, especially because if it was an animal bone, why are you putting your initials on it? I mean, why are you putting your initials on it if it's a human bone? That is also a valid question. The other thing that strikes him is that RP, those are the initials of his neighbor, Mr. Pearlzig. And so he's not exactly sure what to do, but he kind of can't help but just think, I guess I should go over to his house and ask, hey, is this your bone? Or did you put this in my yard? Like, why is it in my yard? Why did you leave this here for me to find? What's going on? And the relationship he has with this neighbor's been here for years, but like, they never really talk to him. So Mr. Fowler is married and his husband kind of sucks. He's just racist and just kind of a dickhead, and he doesn't like Mr. Pearlzig because he's a minority, and Mr. Fowler's husband just isn't about minorities, apparently. Very unpleasant man, and even Mr. Fowler's like, God, my husband fucking sucks. He's not pleased with his husband being a racist douchebag, which, yeah, that is not a thing to be pleased by. So anyways, he doesn't want to tell his husband what he's doing because he doesn't want his husband to be like that much more like, I knew it, minority, dead bone, murderer, whatever he's gonna say. So he decides to keep it to himself, and he's gonna go over to Mr. Pearlzig's house and ask him about the bone. But also, if you think it's a human bone, does that really seem like something you should confront somebody with? But alas, he's gonna. So Mr. Fowler goes over to Mr. Pearlzig's house. He brings up the bone, mentions the initials, and Mr. Pearlzig is just like, so you thought that was an invitation to come and harass an old man? And Mr. Fowler is a very, like, polite person. He's like, oh my gosh, no, I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, you were right. It was an invitation. I was hoping that either you or your husband would come here after finding it. And he proceeds into a weird little spiel about risk-taking, gambling. Mr. Pearlzig says, are you a gambling man, Mr. Fowler? I once made a bet about the time and place of my father's death, Hodgkin's lymphoma, awful disease. Then when I was certain I would win, I bet against myself. After all, there's no fun in winning all the time. I win only when I need to, when it's a necessity, like today, for instance. if I made a bet with you, would you bet that I would need to win? And Mr. Fowler says, well, since you went through all this trouble, I would say yes. And Mr. Pearlzig's like, yep, that is correct. Okay. Well, how about another bet? You want to make another bet? I bet you $500 that you cannot clean out all the snow from under my car in under 3 minutes. Which, I don't know. Like, I am wondering what I would do in this situation because, like, sure, like, I want $500, but also, like, there just seems to be something so weird. Like, why is this even happening? And it makes me nervous, and it's happening with someone who put an engraved bone in my yard, and it feels like perhaps there's some sort of ulterior motive going on here. So maybe I'm not going to clean the snow out from under your car, but also maybe I want $500. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. So he really goes all at it. Mr. Fowler's like, yeah, $500. I guess him and his husband are kind of struggling financially. So he decides to take the bet, and he fucking goes balls to the wall, and he is able to do it like right in time. So he's stoked. $500. Okay, chill. But what do you know? After this, Mr. Pearlzig wants to make another bet, and he's like, okay, this one, I know that you will not win. He says, I've timed how long it takes to successfully unlock each and every latch on this door. It takes precisely 45 seconds. I'll bet you can't do it in under 30 seconds. Which, okay, I don't know. This is giving me a weird feeling in my tummy. And he's saying that all you'll have to do if you lose the bet is pay back the $500. But if you win, I'll give you $1,000. And oh, tempting, is it not? And what do you know? He takes the bet and he's able to do it right under that 30-second mark. So, okay, his luck is going kind of good, I guess. And obviously, we know there's going to be another bet. So he's won these couple, and so now Mr. Pearlzig is saying that, okay, I have another bet that you cannot solve this word puzzle. And he has a chalkboard, and it's one of those things where there's like different images, and then maybe you'll do like an image plus a letter or something, and he has to go word by word and like figure out what each of the words is and then put it together in a sentence. And Mr. Pearlzig says, if you get this, then I will double your earnings. So that would be $3,000. So that would be huge for him. And, you know, his luck's been good so far, so we're going to do it. So he is able to solve the word puzzle. And it says, you'll find it's like that all over. That's what the title of this story is. And it's like, okay. And then now at this point, Mr. Fowler really just wants to leave. He's like, okay, I got my money. I really just want to go. And he starts to, you know, do the whole, okay, I should be going sort of thing. And Mr. Pearlzig's like, nah. He's like, be polite. Come on now. Like, you can't leave quite yet, okay? And even though he really doesn't want to be there, he feels that pull of like, I must be a gentleman. I must be a polite gentleman. He doesn't want me to leave, so I guess I'm not going to. He's telling him, you know, you certainly cannot leave before our final bet. And so for this final bet, he takes Mr. Fowler up to this room. And in this room is a guillotine. It's a guillotine, an old school guillotine. He's saying he got it at an auction. He's like, isn't she a beauty? Absolutely terrifying. Once you see the guillotine, you need to go. But no, he's still intrigued, even though it gives him a horrible feeling. And he's like, I bet you that if you put your head right here, like where the guillotine would come and slice your head off, if you put your head right here, and if I handcuff you in this guillotine, I bet you, even if I present you with this key to unlock the handcuffs, I bet that you cannot get out in under 15 seconds. And if he doesn't get out in under 15 seconds, he is going to be decapitated, because no matter what, he is planning on releasing that guillotine in 15 seconds. So this is like, okay, this is what we've been working up to. And he says if he can get out in under 15 seconds, he will pay him $100,000. Okay, and I will say Mr. Fowler is on the older side, and I don't think he likes his life that much. So apparently, you know, the possibility of getting decapitated is like, you know what, either I'm decapitated and I'm not here, or I'm here and I have $100,000. So, sick deal. The homeboy agrees. He puts his head up in that guillotine, they get the handcuffs on, and Mr. Pearlzig starts the timer. And immediately Mr. Fowler drops the keys. He's like, I dropped them. But obviously that's not gonna fucking reset the timer. So he's scrambling, he gets the keys, he's trying to unlock them, and it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he has not unlocked them in time, and Mr. Pearlzig pulls the lever for the guillotine to drop. It starts to drop, and then it stops just like a few inches above Mr. Fowler's neck. Apparently, he has it rigged to where it's not actually going to decapitate the person. But Mr. Pearlzig looks so delighted that this just happens. He thinks this was a hoot. And Mr. Fowler is just like, oh my God, it wasn't real. None of it was real. And he's absolutely terrified. Mr. Fowler is wondering, like, why me? And Mr. Pearlzig is like, oh, well, because I knew you'd come. You'll find that people are like that all over. Like, they just be doing that. And so he's traumatized, he leaves, he doesn't get any money, obviously, and he tries to avoid Mr. Pearlzig from there on out. And there is one point at which there is like a neighborhood barbecue, and Mr. Fowler meets a man who has just moved into the neighborhood with his husband, and he is just kind of chit-chatting with him, and then notices that as he bends over, there's a small little bone fragment that falls out of this man's pocket, and it has the initials RP on it. So he knows, oh, me and this dude got some stuff to talk about. And he's saying that he thinks that people are probably having this happen to them from Mr. Pearlzig a good amount, and nobody's coming forward because they're embarrassed. And like, yeah, the weird things you do to be polite, because when he's asking Mr. Pearlzig, whose bone is this? Mr. Pearlzig's like, don't be rude. Don't be like asking questions like that. It's very rude. And so it seems like throughout the story, they're trying to highlight the weird shit we'll do to be polite. I don't necessarily know that that's what vibe I was getting out of it. I feel like the curiosity piece and, you know, the motivation from money, I think those are the pieces that stuck out to me a little bit more. But I will say I will do some weird shit so as to not be rude. So it's still a valid point. I just thought this was just such a weird, funny, interesting story because it was so short and like, I don't know, it just makes you feel weird. And the fact that he didn't end up killing him, but also whose bone was it? I still also would like to know whose bone was it, because maybe he is a killer as well. He just hasn't been killing lately because this is tickling him enough that he doesn't need to. I don't know. So those are the second and third stories in Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. I did like this book. They still do leave you feeling a little question marky, but the ride is fun. I did enjoy it. I am thankful to the viewer who gave me this recommendation. I just love disturbing short stories. I think they're fun and cool and chill and smart, and I like them. And I would recommend this book. It's not going to be like on my list of absolute favorites, but I thought it was fun. So thank you for joining me. And if you didn't listen to the first story, go listen to that one when I talked about that one. I did that as a standalone video because I felt like it was a standalone story. So go check that out if you want to, I guess. But thank you for joining me. I will see you next time. Goodbye.